So last week, 2 animal rights activists were indicted on federal charges for committing an egregious act of terrorism on U.S. soil.
On Friday, the government unveiled federal terrorism charges against 2 animal rights activists accused of helping to free minks and foxes from fur farms in rural Illinois.
Under the Animal Enterprise Terrorism Act, Lang and Oluf's animal activism is an act of terrorism.
My name's Tyler Lang, and I'm from Lomita, California in the South Bay, and I'm 27 years old. I started racing BMX when I was 12. You know, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, and BMX was one of the cheapest cycling sports you can do, so that's what I did. Then moved on to racing motocross when I was 15, and then cyclocross and road bikes when I was 24. A big reason why I stopped doing motocross was because I got heavily involved in activism. I did activism pretty solid for like 6 years, so that just kind of disappeared. And then one of my really good activism friends raced road bikes, and he's the one who encouraged me to get a cyclocross bike. When I was first introduced to the idea of animal liberation and veganism, I was 9th grade, and I met a kid in my science class who showed me video of like how animals were treated in factory farms. I watched that 2-minute video and it was just like changed for life. You know, your parents teach you to do the right thing and be a good person, and I don't know, I saw what was happening to animals and I didn't feel like I was doing a good thing by eating them. I didn't know anything about a vegan diet, so I didn't really know what I was doing. I just knew I didn't want to eat animals. I spent a lot of years dedicating the majority of my time in activism to vegan outreach and education. A lot of it was really fulfilling, but at the same time, I guess I didn't feel like I would always get the results I would want. Out of the countless amount of hours and days and weeks and years that I spent doing that, I don't think I achieved as much as I achieved in a single night going out there and raiding a mink farm.
In newly unsealed indictments, the government accuses Tyler Lang and Kevin Oluf of freeing about 2,000 minks from their cages on a fur farm, and then removing parts of the fence surrounding the property so the mink could escape.
Most of these places are backyard operations. The sheds where the minks are being held are a few hundred feet away from the property that the owner is sleeping in. So you're basically sneaking into their backyard to release a bunch of really loud animals. And when you walk in, there's like hundreds of little red eyes just like staring at you from the cages. And then once you start opening the cages, it is unreal. Like you see these little mink curiously pop their head out of the cage, and then they slowly, as they get a little braver, they climb onto the cage, and then you see them jump out of the cage and hit, touch grass for what's probably the first time in their entire life. So that was pretty magical. It was definitely an experience that I will never forget and never regret, but, scary one nonetheless.
This issue of terrorism, if you can explain how these actions are being called terrorist.
It all changed after September 11th, and that's really how we got to the point of this new law, the Animal Enterprise Terrorism Act, which is so broad that according to its supporters, it not only includes things like stealing animals from fur farms and laboratories, but also civil disobedience and protest activity. And to me, this is this radical expansion of terrorism powers in the name of protecting corporate interests.
It takes what is typically considered property crimes, what's considered vandalism, and makes it into terrorism. Along with the terrorist label is also enhancements on the length of time that you will serve. The 2 separate charges, they both carry 5 years each. So I was originally looking at 10 years. There's definitely mornings where I have a hard time even getting out of bed because it's just so miserable knowing that you're going to be going to prison for a few years. The last few years since my indictments, I've been putting more time on the bike. It's definitely a huge stress reliever, and I really like that it's just you and the bike out there. Pretty much no matter what I'm doing, I'm kind of like thinking about, oh, I got these bills or work or federal indictments or whatever, but when I'm on my bike, the only thing I'm thinking about is going as fast as I can. It takes me away from everything else. But it has not changed my view on effective activism. It's like spokes in a wheel. You need every spoke for the wheel to work. You know what I mean? We need the vegan outreach. We need the foodies out there promoting food. We need hard-hitting campaigns that are shutting down laboratories. And we also need people going out there and raiding fur farms. I don't think it's one over the other, or it's so much that one is more important than the other, but that all are relative to animal liberation and to social change. I mean, I think it's super important for vegans to get into activism, primarily because, in my experience, the people that stay vegan are the ones that surround themselves with the culture and other people that are vegan. It's so easy when, you get involved in activism and know other people that feel the way that you do. Making it a lifestyle, making it a lifelong commitment and not just a diet is super important for it to last.